Hey everybody! Okay, so today I'm going to be going over info about taxes. This is a question I've been getting a lot lately. And I'm going to start off by saying I am not a tax professional in the slightest. I'm honestly not that knowledgeable about it. But I have learned a few things as I've gone along in this business. So I'm going to go over a few things, talk about some mistakes that I made. I hope that you don't make, and what you can be doing to help keep up with all of your write-offs and everything. Make sure you're doing everything great. Okay. So I have some notes. I'm going to be looking down, make sure I don't forget anything because mom brain. But anyway, so first of all, is that with Plexus, we get a 1099, which is different than a W-2. So if you work at a job and you have an employer, you're going to get, is it W-2 or W-4? See, I told you, I don't, I don't know all this, but you're going to get that, one of those forms. But with Plexus, we're self-employed, and so we get a 1099, and that's two very different things to the IRS. We do not pay taxes on our income. Like if you notice your pay stub from an employer, they're gonna have taxes already taken out. With our Plexus paychecks, that doesn't happen. So we recommend, most people in the business recommend that you put back a portion of your paycheck to into a savings account to help pay for your taxes at the end of the year. Anywhere from 20 to 30% is what I'm hearing. 30% if you want to be safe. So yeah, definitely keep that in mind. Open up, if you haven't already, it's kind of a different topic, but open up a separate bank account, a checking account for Plexus, and then also a separate savings account for this sole purpose. And then owning your own business. Okay, so owning your own business is really gets you like a nice tax break because you get all these write-offs. You know, I'm going to go through some of these later, but you own your own business. So, you know, almost everything that you do, you can write off. You don't have to pay taxes on that amount of money that you spent on something for your business. I'm not sure if that makes sense. But I'm going to go over all that in a minute. But just know, like, because you own your own business, you get to write off so many more things than you would if you have just an employer. So do not make the same mistake that I made. So I started in September of 2014. And so those 4 months of 2014, I mean, I made some money, but I didn't do any write-offs because I didn't really know how, and I didn't think I made that much money. And it honestly ended up not making a huge difference on our overall income for the year. So that wasn't a huge deal. But 2015, I made a lot more money than I was expecting. And so I did end up starting to keep receipts like February or March of that year because someone told me to start doing that. But I just put them all like in a notebook file section thing, and I didn't really think about it much until the end of the year came, and I was like, oh, I have to calculate all of those and categorize them and organize them so that I can put it in for my taxes and get all these write-offs and make sure everything's like kosher with the IRS. And it was like so, oh my gosh, so incredibly overwhelming. I regret it so much because there's so many easy ways to keep track of your taxes, and I'm going to go over that with you. But it was, yeah, not a wise decision at all. I just put it off and pretended like it didn't exist, and then end of the year came, and I think I turned in my taxes like a week before April 15th. But anyway, so here are some things that you can write off for your business. So if you can write off a portion of your rent or mortgage if you have a room in your office that's considered your home office. And so you take, like, if it's 15% of your overall square footage of your home, you write off like 15% of your rent or mortgage. And the same goes along with your utilities. You can also write off a portion of your phone and your internet usage depending on how much you use for your business, which for me is like 90 to 100%. You can write off samples that you give away. Any of your meals, or like even just getting coffee with either a potential or your team member, or if you happen to take your team out for celebratory drinks or whatever, you know, you can write that off. You can also write off your flights and hotels to any Plexus things like convention or even to Hawaii or Leaders Retreat. Anything that you spend while traveling for business is a tax write-off. Woo! business cards or any sort of payment that kind of goes along with samples, but business cards and shirts that say Plexus on it, it's considered advertising and marketing. Any computers that you might happen to buy, or phones, or tablets, if you buy a printer or ink for your printer, or pens, or a planner, or notebooks, anything that in regards to your business is a tax write-off. It really adds up. So definitely keep track of all of that. So some ways that you can keep track of all of this, because I know that's like a lot. There are a couple of different ways, but two that I've used. One is TaxBot. It's pretty popular. It's an app that you can get on your phone. You can also access it via the internet, and you can take a picture of your receipt right then and there, and then you can categorize it, say where it was. You can calculate your miles too there, because you just get to write off miles with your business too. Like if you drive somewhere to meet somebody, you write off those miles. I found it really useful, and it was great. I used it for actually bought it at the end of 2015, and then went back and put everything back into TaxBot. So that took a while. I wish I just did it as I went. But you're able to take pictures right there with your phone, and it's really it's a really great application. It's solid. But then I discovered QuickBooks Self-Employed, and I love it. Okay, so QuickBooks Self-Employed, it's about the same price, but I use my computer. You connect your bank accounts, and I use a special debit card that I use for my Plexus account that I use for all of my Plexus expenses. And you can go in there and you can click personal or business, and if you can click business, then you categorize it to wherever it goes. Or you can also split the bill. So like if I went to Target and I bought some clothes, but I also bought, some pens, and I forgot to make 2 different purchases or whatever, I can go in there and I can split the bill. And it also calculates your income, and you can put in all of your like dependents and all your information basically, and connect your account with the IRS, and it'll tell you how much you owe and like what your balance is. And it's so much more in depth, and I can't even really explain it because I honestly don't know that much about taxes. But all I know is that it basically does everything for you, and it's really great, especially when you get further into this business and you're making more money, and you're gonna have to start paying quarterly to the IRS. And so that's what I like about QuickBooks, is it tells you how much you owe per quarter, and you can pay right there through QuickBooks with your account, and it keeps track of everything. And it's just phenomenal, and I absolutely love it. And then at one point, it might be beneficial once you get higher up in the business. I know some diamonds that do their own taxes because they're really smart and they know tax law and they studied it. I probably won't be one of those people. I actually went ahead and hired a CPA, and she is actually on my team as a wholesale ambassador, and I've known her since I was a little girl. And I went ahead and hired her because I need help. I want to make sure that I'm doing everything right, and it's just something else that I don't really have to worry about as much. But I'm still keeping track of everything with QuickBooks. But she's there to do my taxes at the end of the year and help me with like correspondence to IRS and everything. So that's pretty much all I got, but it's pretty simple. Know all the things that you can write off, get TaxBot or QuickBooks Self-Employed, and keep those receipts, and make sure that you're keeping track of everything so that you can write off money at the end of the year, and you won't have to pay as much in taxes at the end of the year if you can write enough stuff off. So, all right, that's all I have, and I hope it was really helpful.